literally the day before I decided with my week off it was pointless to stay on the mainland, and it was a rare opportunity to go to Tasmania with this ridge giving nice, clear, settled conditions all week while New South Wales got historic floods. So I convinced Phil to come with me, and a mate of his lent us a car for the week, and we set off to do some vol biv. So here we are at the foot of King William. Oh, if there's a bit more wind, I'd be able to get it from here. Oops, I can see a twig. Well, unfortunately, I've got nothing good to report for today. Phil got off, but there were some light cycles coming up, sort of southeast, but very light. And he got up, but then he bombed out. Woo! And he's still walking back to the car. He had a really terrible time. He said he was chest high up to water. His pants are shredded and there's blood everywhere. Yeah, really terrible scrub, and he's found that out the hard way. And meanwhile, I've been walking around trying to launch. I cannot launch this thing. Come on. Don't be like this. I just noticed my phone and Vario is over there. Probably should get that. And there's not much wind to rely on. It's kind of in the lee here anyway. I was hoping for some sun, but it's blocked now. But it looks like there's... Would have been good if you'd been able to get up to those clouds, kind of like the convergence on the highest part of the island.
And end up sinking out, landing in the most appropriate looking place, realising after I'd landed there that I could not get out. The pant ended up like this with so the stains are all from blood. And at one stage there I was walking out, the only way I could get out of the place was to walk through the swamp, thinking it looked okay. Like I was a bit reluctant to put my shoes in the water first, and then I thought, put my shoes in the water, and then suddenly I just sunk down to about chest height, and I couldn't get out. It was like quicksand trying to get out, and I got stuck in this forest. It must have been 3 hours of constant battling through really, really thick scrub.
And while he was bashing through the scrub, I was trying to launch, and I've got this layer over my t-shirt, then this, and then on the outside this, and even this on the outside is still wet with sweat. Who needs a drink bottle, eh, Phil? So the first day was really tough. I damaged the wing and had to hike down the hill. Phil wrecked his legs and was really motivated to get some new gators the next morning, which we did before heading out to the Sentinel Range in the southwest between Lakes Pedder and Gordon. And really you've got to factor in some scrub bashing and hardship in a trip like this, but hope that you get a really good flight to balance it all out. Been pretty stable. Yesterday I couldn't even go off the hill. It's 1 PM Queensland time, which makes it 2 PM. Phil just launched down there. Awesome. Yeah! So, compared to yesterday where I hiked up the hill, spent hours and hours trying to launch until I was so sweaty that both my down jackets were sodden, and then wrecking a glider, and then walking back down the hill, getting down at dark. This is a much better day. Look at this! This is what paragliding's all about. Highs and lows, extremes. And I feel will be with me soon. That's where I just was. So I did see another red glider just before I launched in the corner of my eye. And it turns out it was Pete Steen, and him and Phil heading over to Edgefield in Taiwan. So Pete was with us, but he's gone back. And now I'm joined with Phil. And I suggested that we fly towards these little hills and try and get to the So I just moved into a better climb. We got one which saved us from these trees. I was a bit worried Phil might have been a bit upset at me. Yeah, I want to cross over onto Mount Ann. We're back in the game now. Pete's gone back to Sentinel Peak. It's probably the smart one amongst us. So Mule Peak down that way, that's got my eye, but I think the wind's going to be more favourable to go to Mount Ann. Low safe, hopefully. Not sure where Phil is. Trying to check this low save, and I spotted Phil just above the skyline. Yeah, Phil's coming to join me after getting a low save. Very satisfying. I was very close to having to walk through this, but now we're over to Mount Ann. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Sort of in the lee. We're on that corner and Phil managed to get up. He's sitting over the top there, but I was scratching on the spur below for a while with no success, so I came over to this one and actually had a bit of a tailwind on the slopes down there, so it's kind of like wrapping around. Lee side rotor type thing. Ah, it's great to be getting up again. Much better day than yesterday. Oh, check this out. I think that's Lake Judd behind Mount Eliza and Mount Ann. And I got up over there. Oh, freezing cold. Phil must have been cold waiting for me. He's already gone and died. I saw him a speck in the distance. So looking back at Mount Ann, some campsite down there. Beautiful glacier sculpted lakes. Federation Peak in the distance, and I last saw Phil around that lower hill down there. Not super high. Hopefully I'll see him again high. So I managed to spot Phil, a speck in the landscape, and I landed to join him. So that there is where I flew to before turning around, and didn't really pay attention to all this scrub when I was flying along. A bit hard to find a place to put a tent. Phil's just over there doing a bit of gardening for a site. But yeah, I think that's the place to start tomorrow. Pretty round hills, I'd rather some steeper ones, but there's a lot of gullies drawing up into it. And yeah, awesome day where we started from. Let me think about this. That's Mount Eliza, Mount Ann, Wedge Peak, Sentinel Peak over there. Good day out.